welcome into the Week 5 Real
Week
Talk
5.
Ravens podcast preview for the Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers hate week, rivalry week, whatever you want to call it. All right, so I just wanted to get started off with this little hype video of what this Ravens-Steelers rivalry really means.
You can say a lot of things right now, but it's one bottom line right now. It's only one top dog. It's only one top dog. They said it's the top two defenses. Let's find out. We know what happened to Willie Parker last time we played him, right? Anybody with a yellow and black in uniform touch the ball tonight. It's personal. When we turn the football film, tomorrow when we turn it on, they will know. They will know who came in here. Y'all know what we do on 3. Hit somebody today. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I love playing on this field right here. This field right here, this football right here, this real football right here.
There's nothing like football in Pittsburgh, man. I think it's because of the history of it. So when you smell the natural grass, there's nothing in this world like natural grass and the smell of football. So when you smell that, it kind of takes you back. And that's why I was in my own zone. I was just in a whole nother world, just appreciating getting ready to play some good football.
Wherever would you rather be? Where else would you rather be right now? Huh? Where else would you rather be? This football.
So yeah, if that doesn't get you fired up for this week, I don't know what will. Ray Lewis, I know Roquan said it best. He said, "You're not really a Raven until you beat the Steelers." So really excited for that.
This is going down.
Yeah, it can wave that terrible towel all they want, but when it's all said and done, the better team will come out with the victory. That's for sure. So first off, let's go ahead and we're filming this a little earlier than normal. It is still Tuesday of the week before. So we're going to start off just with the weekly practice squad signings and waivings. First thing that happened, a player did get signed off our practice squad, Deron Harmon, the safety that we had just picked up. He got signed to the Bears 53-man off of our practice squad. So we went and made some moves of our own. We signed cornerback Trey Swilling to our practice squad. He's a second-year guy out of Georgia Tech. And then we went and signed tight end Eric Tomlinson, who we've had in the past in previous years. And then we also re-signed DeAndre Houston Carson to our practice squad, who had spent time with us in the preseason. And then in turn, we did waive the wide receiver Dante Demas Jr. So
that sucks.
Yeah, it sucks to see him go, being a Maryland guy, but it is what it is. It's a business. So we move on and we move forward.
We'll be okay.
Be all right. On top of that, let's go ahead and start off with what we're wearing. All right, jerseys of the week. We got white jerseys, purple pants. Weather's going to be 51 degrees and cloudy. So good football weather. Not too hot, not too cold, no rain. Right now, we're favored by 4.5 points. Over-under is 38. I believe that is the lowest over-under of the entire league this week. So with that in mind, I think everyone's thinking this is just going to be a slugfest, just like the old days, AFC North battles with us and the Steelers. So be ready for that. Even though we, came out strong last week, it's a different game. It's a different week. Steelers games are always notorious for being low scoring. I think there's been a few that are just 7-6, 10-7 from, back in the day. Referee wise, we got Carl Cheffers this week. One thing to note for him is that 65% of his penalties have been on the offense. So that includes mainly holdings and false starts. So we have to make sure offensive line wise, we're doing a good job of keeping our hands inside and not getting beat. So that's going to be hard to do with TJ Watt and Highsmith defending those guys, blocking those guys up, especially in the pass game. All right. So taking a look here at the injuries for this week. Right now, it's looking like Jalen Armour-Davis is practicing in full. He was limited early on with a hamstring. Rashad Bateman is back to full practicing both today and yesterday. OBJ has been limited, but from the videos that I saw, he looked pretty good getting in and out of his breaks. Justice Hill, foot and hamstring now, limited both Wednesday and Thursday. Marlon Humphrey's foot, he's back practicing. That's a really good sign. He's been limited both Wednesday and Thursday. Morgan Moses did not practice on Wednesday, but did have a limited practice on Thursday, which is a good sign. Key thing to keep an eye out for, Morgan Moses has not missed a start since joining the NFL. All right. And then Odafe Owe, still not practicing. Ronnie Stanley has been full. I think we're pretty optimistic he's going to be out there. So even if we do have Miss Moses, it seems to be that Ronnie Stanley will be ready to play. Marcus Williams full both Wednesday and Thursday. Hope to see him back. And then the last one that got hurt in the game against the Browns was Daryl Worley with a shoulder injury. He has not practiced at all yet this week. Pretty likely he will not be playing. So the two that we definitely don't expect to see are Odafe and Worley. On the other side, the Steelers, let's see, they got O-lineman James Daniels with a groin injury, has not practiced at all. Freiermuth has not practiced at all. Their punter has not practiced at all. Wonder if they signed someone else. Alex Highsmith, ooh, that's a big name. Groin injury, has not practiced at all. Keep an eye out for Alex Highsmith. If he's not playing, that's huge for us. Linebacker Cole Holcomb is back practicing full as of Thursday with a back injury. DN DeMarvin Leal had a concussion, but he's back in a limited capacity as of today, Thursday. O-lineman Dan Moore Jr. with a knee injury has not practiced this week. O-lineman Chakwuma Okorafor with an elbow injury is back full practice on Thursday. And then Kenny Pickett, surprisingly, is back to a full practice as of Thursday and has come out and said he will be ready to play. So we'll see how effective he is with this injury. But that wraps up the injury report for this week. Move on to our next segment here with TK's Coach's Film Room Study. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, welcome everybody into the TK's Film Room Study with the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cleveland Brown games from week 4. Not a whole lot of clips this week, just kind of want to focus on a few things that I saw. There's a lot of really good execution, both offensively and defensively. We didn't really do anything too unique or creative either way. We just executed the play that was called, and we did really well this week. So we just kind of didn't really show our hand too much for the future games, I feel like. But first thing I wanted to look at offensively here is a jet sweep, fake jet sweep with the quarterback counter back to the left. This was the first touchdown run for Lamar. And a lot of times you see when we do this jet sweep action, you see basically Lamar is reading the defensive end normally to this side, and he has the option to give it to Zay Flowers on the sweep, or he can keep it and go front side following the pulling guard to the right. However, we kind of changed it up, kind of saw that we had a tendency doing that, so we went back the other way, faked this jet sweep, and then we have our pulling lineman going back to the left, and the defense was not ready for that. So you can see all the linebackers, all the DBs all went to the right with the jet sweep. We get a pulling guard right here coming back up, and we have Andrews over there, so we have an extra blocker, and it's just an easy walk-in touchdown. Really good play call, really good design. All right, this one, I wanted to just show Lamar's patience in the pocket here and the different ways that he was able to create just his arm angles. So here you see you got a drag coming across with Zay Flowers. What Lamar sees is he sees this defensive lineman in his throwing window to lead Zay Flowers. So Lamar does a good job of being patient and kind of just changes his arm angle just slightly just so he can get the ball to Zay through the window. See, he does a little pump fake. D lineman's arms goes up trying to swat that ball down, and then he just tosses it right around him. Zay Flowers has room to run, catches it in stride, makes a couple guys miss. Good play. Just wanted to show Lamar is just looking so comfortable right now, and it's just awesome to see. All right, so this one was a really cool play. When I was watching it live, I didn't realize what was going on as much as I can see now from this all 22. But what we have here is it's going to be a rollout with Lamar. He's going to roll out to the right. And then what Mark Andrews does is he pretends like he's running a drag and then just whips it back out to the boundary side. So I think that this was a designed throwback to Mark Andrews, but it looked like it was more of just a scramble drill because of the free rusher coming in. Either way, Lamar makes a really good play, and I just really like the play design. I think it was pretty unique to see that type of throwback. I haven't really seen this before. So just see here, we got the bootleg, and then Lamar gets pressure in his face. He has to make a guy miss, but at the same time, Mark Andrews is going to plant here, come back out. He's in man coverage, so he knows he has that, and Lamar just throws it to open space, and it's just a beautiful play. Yeah, I mean, great game for Mark Andrews this week. That was a nice 25, 30-yard gain. Really good offensive play. I think Monken was getting a little creative with that one, but like I said, for the most part, I didn't see too much creativeness, but I wanted to highlight that one because of that. All right, so this one, let me just rewind here. So we start off in empty, and Melvin Gordon's in at running back, and we motion him back to the backfield. So what this motion does is it tells Lamar pre-snap whether to expect man or zone based off how the defense adjusts with the motion. So what you can see as he motions back into the backfield, number 6 here, the linebacker or safety, whoever that is, he basically is going man-to-man with him. So Lamar knows right now I have that guy man coverage, and what we have here is just a simple route with a little snag route basically, and then you have the wheel behind it up the sideline. So what that snag is going to do is try to, make that linebacker run through that route, run through that receiver in order to guard his man on the wheel route. So Lamar notices right now it's man coverage, so I can read that side of the field pre-snap. All right, post-snap, we see it's man coverage, corner on receiver, linebacker on running back. Lamar sees that right away. His eyes are on him. The safety is deep in the middle of the field, so we don't have to worry about him. And then Aguilar does a good job of just kind of sitting in his way, making him run around him. And then at the same time, a beautiful pass over, drops it in the bucket over the linebacker's head to Melvin Gordon, and we get a huge play because of it. Really nice play. All right, last offensive play that I wanted to show here is, later in the game, Morgan Moses got hurt. This is probably the only negative play that I saw offensively. We have our right tackle here is Falele. He did good most of the game, or most of the snaps that he was in. It was just this drive in particular. He let up like 2 QB hurries. But this one in particular, I just wanted to show something that he needs to correct going forward, especially if he's playing or facing this week against the Steelers and facing either Highsmith or Watt. So right here, it's just a normal pass set. You got a wide 9 outside. So right now, his feet just stop moving, and he just tries to get his hands on. Versus some of these really good pass rushers, that's not going to work right here, because you see his feet stop, and then he just lunges. He has to keep his feet moving the entire way, and doing the hand combat with the defensive lineman as his feet are moving. He can't just stop his feet and lunge like he is right now. You should never be in this stance as an offensive lineman where your body's completely bent over like that. So that allows that DN to come straight through and get a free shot at Lamar. Luckily, Lamar, actually, no, he did not get out of that one, but he did get out of another one. So, yeah, that was pretty much what I saw from the offense this week. Nothing too crazy, but I just wanted to point out a few things there. All right, so I've got a few plays here to highlight some of our defensive players here. First one that doesn't get a lot of credit, doesn't play maybe the most snaps, but when he does play, he makes his mark. Especially this game, I saw Malik Harrison do a really good job. I mean, we drafted this guy to be an inside linebacker, and this year he's kind of shifted to that outside linebacker role as a strong side outside linebacker. So he's been dropping into pass coverage, and I especially have been seeing him more so against heavier personnel, it seems like. But in this game, he's played a little bit more, I think, because of just, the depth that we have at that position right now. So here he is at the strong side outside linebacker, up on the ball, and we get an outside zone right away. All the offensive linemen are stretching out toward him on that wide zone track. But what his job is to do is to basically contain the running back so that he doesn't get outside of him. So he does a really good job of just going upfield and forcing the running back to go back inside. And then not only does he force him back inside, he also gets him back in on the tackle. So that was just a really good job. I know he was going up against Njoku as a tight end, not as hard of a blocker. But he did a really good job of getting off that block, setting the edge, and just getting in on the tackle. All right, here I wanted to highlight Jadeveon Clowney. He had a really, really good game. I'd say, besides your normal Roquan Smith and guys like that, Jadeveon Clowney, he had probably the best game on defense individually. So here, he just completely swipes this left tackle out of his way, and he's got the running back dead to right. It's another outside zone. Browns really like trying to get it outside. I'm sure they saw that against the Colts, them getting it outside on us. But, Clowney has him dead in the backfield. I mean, running back ducks up underneath of him, but he still does enough to make the running back fall down. So it's a TFL credit to Jadeveon Clowney. He is a beast. All right. Again, I want to highlight Jadeveon Clowney. He is the reason this play happens, but he doesn't get the credit. So what he's going to do is he's going to slant. He's now on the right boundary defense, outside linebacker. I guess now it's considered a DN since we're in a 4-down front. So he is going to slant in here, and then Patrick Queen is going to wrap around, and it's just going to set up nicely for Patrick Queen to take this tackle on. So right now he is slanting hard inside, beats Njoku, crosses his face. The left tackle here, 71, doesn't even, look at him. I don't know if that was a missed assignment on his part, but Clowney gets crossed Njoku's face. He takes the puller on, so he's got two guys trying to block him now. And then that leaves Patrick Queen completely unblocked. Boom. TFL. All because of, Jadeveon Clowney taking on two blockers. Anytime that you can take on two blockers as a defensive end or a defensive lineman, I mean, you are just a beast in the NFL. All right, here, last play I wanted to highlight defensively. Guys that don't get a lot of credit either are your interior defensive linemen. Here we got Matabike and Michael Pierce. And, I just wanted to highlight them because they're the reason this play gets disrupted so well. As you can see right now, Matabike just pretty much, uses his hands, get by the right guard, puts pressure on the quarterback. Pierce is right there to pretty much not let the quarterback go. DTR doesn't have anywhere else to go. But Matabike is just, we talked about this in one of the other games. He's just so fast for a interior defensive lineman. And even with a mobile quarterback like DTR, he's not able to get away from him here. So he just collapses in, and you saw at the end there. Let me get back here. He does spin away, but referee already called him down. Either way, Pierce is right there, and then our rookie outside linebacker is also there, Robinson, and he takes a good shot on him. All right, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. All right, welcome back from TK's Coach's Film Room segment. I hope you guys enjoyed my takes and my analysis on last week's game versus the Cleveland Browns. A lot of good things, not too much bad to reflect on, so that was always nice.
Bravo has had some updates since we last talked, I think.
Okay, what is his update?
Where it's we had said that he could have a decision to make, and from what I've heard, it's very likely that it's just going to be season ending. So I would expect not to have him back this year.
Yeah, I think that they are just, letting him be the one to share that, and that it was pretty obvious from our side of things, from the Ravens side of things, by signing Kyle Van Noy, that was probably what was happening behind the doors, closed doors, that we didn't know. So that makes sense. It sucks because he's a guy coming off of a season-ending injury from the combine, and this was his first real chance to really show what he had. And he really only had a few weeks, which kind of sucks because he showed a lot of potential.
Right, he did, but it's just part of the game.
Yep, it's part of the Ravens game, that's for sure. So yeah, on the other side of it, they have at this point, Freiermuth is doubtful with a hamstring injury. I doubt he'll play. And then Kenny Pickett, they're still listing as questionable, and he's going to try to practice with his bone bruise, but I don't see that happening.
I want to see him try to play against us.
If he tried to play against us, he will get that bone bruise might turn into a much more serious issue.
Yeah, and I'm not even trying to be mean. I'm just saying, dude, take a break. I know it sucks, but the Steelers suck this year. It's not like you're winning the division. It's going to be the Browns, Bengals, or Ravens, more than likely.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not like Trubisky's going to come in and save the day.
Right.
So,
what are you worried about?
But let's get
week, take your bye and then come back.
Yeah, get into your, take basically 2 weeks off and come back full 100%. You can see us back in Baltimore.
Season-ending injuries, man. I know that they want to play, especially if it's the Steelers and the Ravens. But it's man, don't risk the rest of your season for one game.
Yeah, it's still so early. It would be one thing if it was week 15, but it's not. So let's go ahead and get into the offensive keys for this game this week. I think the biggest thing that I see from their defense, you have to pretty much just game plan around TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. I think that's pretty much all they have. I'm not high
Texans
on.
Did a really good job about doing that, by the way.
Yeah. The Texans did a great job. They had no sacks. CJ Stroud threw for 306 yards and 2 touchdowns. And we saw Stroud, and he wasn't – I think he has progressed since we saw him. I think he is getting a little bit more comfortable in the NFL, and I'm glad we got him when we did. But with that being said, the Steelers' secondary is ranked 26th in the NFL. Quarterbacks have just absolutely been shredding them. Their only kind of bright spot is the rookie Porter, and I'm not really high on him, to be honest. I haven't been even through the draft process. I didn't think he was a first-round talent. I think he's just there because of his name and his size. I think that he's a very handsy corner, so I think we will draw some flags with him, especially if he gets matched up on Zay Flowers. And even with their pass defense being ranked 26th, their run defense is worse. They are ranked 29th in the NFL in run defense. So
very shocking to see the Steelers defense this low in the rankings.
Yeah, it's not like they've been playing a gauntlet of a schedule either. They've been playing regular teams. I know it's early on to look at rankings, but all in all, they are, they got 4 weeks in. 4 weeks in, they're playing terrible. Beside TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, if we can just make sure that all week we're just game planning our plays around them, making sure that they can't make the play.
I think the key to the game is really just getting the ball out incredibly fast. Get the ball out fast, and you'll have success against the Steelers, because if they can't get the quarterback down, they can't really cover players, especially when you have fast, shifty players like Aguilar, like Zay Flowers, like maybe Odell if he's back. We can score pretty much at will as long as we keep their defensive line out of the backfield. There is a reason Highsmith got paid all that money last year. He has had a pretty good start to the season. TJ Watt always looks good. He never has a down game really, except it's going to be tough. I really hope Ronnie Stanley's back, because that would be one less thing to worry about, and I really hope Morgan Moses can play.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game if we don't have Morgan Moses or Ronnie Stanley.
I think we'll have Ronnie Stanley.
Yeah, because if we don't have Morgan Moses and we do have Ronnie Stanley, I wonder if McCary goes to the right side, or do we start Falele?
We might alternate.
Falele, I mean, I rewatched the game. I think he had his moments where he definitely just got beat, but overall he had a good game. But
couldn't you, in theory, put Ben Cleveland in at left guard and put John Simpson on at right tackle? Didn't Simpson used to play tackle at one point, or am I just crazy?
I don't remember, but I don't think they're going to take Simpson out of the starting spot. I think the reason McCary is being paid as much as he is because he can play all over. And so if I had to guess it, they're going to put McCary there, especially versus these guys.
Fair enough.
But I would say, regardless, keep Patrick Ricard in the game to help block. Dude, when Patrick Ricard was in versus the Browns, he was blocking Myles Garrett better than our starting tackle.
Dude, it's funny because both myself and our friend Palmer, who was on the show, were kind of trashing him before the year, saying that I wish we had cut him and kind of kept another corner, another safety. But nah, man, he's really proved his worth in Todd Monken's offense just as a blocker so far. I know he's not necessarily getting the stats we're used to him seeing.
He even had a catch this week.
Yeah, man, he's getting involved, and he's had some really tremendous blocks.
Dude, the fact that you're putting a fullback one-on-one with Myles Garrett, arguably the best pass rusher in the NFL, and he's holding his own just fine, stuffing them at the line, no movement.
Right.
I mean, you can't ask for anything more than that.
It
almost, yeah, it's crazy. It almost makes you think, like, I remember in preseason they were saying how he had been practicing with the offensive line as an offensive lineman. I was like, shoot, if we really got desperate, he could be a starting tackle.
He could be. I hope it doesn't fucking get to that, but don't jinx us. Knock on wood. But
knock on wood.
No, he can just be. He can be a kind of like a unicorn right there, man. Like, think about it. Goal line situation, you bring him in, the defense doesn't know if you're going to give it to him, block with him, or if he's just a decoy. Like, you don't know.
You know, the thing that I know Cleveland did it versus us this week. We've done it a few times in the past. I don't know if we did it this year yet, but where Mark Andrews goes under center for like the quarterback sneak.
Yeah, I haven't seen us do it this year yet.
No, I guess with Monken, he hasn't dived into that yet, but Cleveland did it. So I was thinking, what if Patrick Ricard took a snap under center and he ran the quarterback sneak?
Right.
How crazy would that be?
I'm wondering what would happen if we ran the tush push with Ricard and Mandrews behind Lamar, pushing him over the one. I don't know why we don't try that kind of thing, because Lamar's a big guy.
And we have a great center.
And we have a great center and a great left tackle when he's in the game. And we have one of the biggest fullbacks in the game and one of the best tight ends in the game. So it's we could even put Gus behind there, or maybe even snap it to Gus. If you don't want to snap it to Lamar because of injury or something, snap it to Gus and have those guys pushing through. Could be a automatic first down on 3rd or 4th and short.
Yeah. Definitely. Another thing that I did see, I was watching the Texans versus Steelers game a little bit, and what killed them a lot was screens to the running back up the middle. They threw screens on them 2 or 3 times. One of them got called back and it was a touchdown. And I feel like that could be a big part of our game plan this week, just knowing how their pass rushers are going to get upfield And
like
especially if we struggle to protect Justice Hill, and I mean, even
Drake.
yeah, I mean Drake's on the practice squad, but
Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers, I think the screen game could be a big piece of the game plan this week.
You know what I noticed when I watched the Steelers game too? They left a lot of holes in the middle of the field, which kind of surprised me, but excites me because I mean, dude, let's be honest, OBJ can be slant king if he wants to. I'm pretty sure every receiver on our team could be slant king if they wanted to. So we could literally just do that where we just run the ball, run the screen, and run the slant, and just do the really quick pass game. That kind of thing we were trying to do against the Bengals. Maybe even dumb it down a little more. And we could probably move the ball with pace quickly down the field and score.
Yeah, and Nico Collins went off against them doing that all over the middle of the field. I mean, so it would be nice to get either Odell or Bateman back. It would be great if we could get both, but I'm just hoping for one at this point.
I think Odell will be back. Odell seems like he's ready to be back mentally.
He warmed up on the field previous to the Browns game, so
that's what I'm saying.
Hopefully tomorrow he practices and he's
going to go. He also, like, if he's going to be a Raven, he definitely wants to play in that Steelers game, you know? Like, I feel like, I don't know, it's just one of those things that OBJ would care about. He's playing with Steelers.
Anything else offensively?
I would say CJ Stroud kind of did this a little bit. We can kill them with the QB scramble. Like, anytime it breaks down, if Lamar gets free, we'll get 10, 15 yards.
Yeah, I think that they probably weren't as aware against the Texans as they will be versus us just because it's Lamar. But at the same time, yeah, Stroud had some good runs, and he's not known for that. So if Lamar can take advantage of some of that, I could see him. I would
argue that if they couldn't stop Stroud, they definitely won't be able to stop Lamar.
Yeah, I just wonder how much of a game plan they had defensively trying to contain him, because he hasn't really shown through the first few weeks that he's been much of a runner.
Dude, he could have gashed us on the ground week one if he had been more of a runner.
Mm-hmm.
He could have gone for like some serious yardage against us.
He's kind of fast too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's no Lamar, but he's got some speed.
Kind of small, I think, is all. He's just like, he knows he's small.
He's big.
He's big, but he's still small compared to those linemen or those linebackers who are going to hit him if he scrambles.
I mean, you could say that about any quarterback pretty much besides Anthony Richardson and Josh Allen.
Yeah, I guess. All right, so let's go on to defense then.
Yeah, so defensively, the Steelers offense.
I want to talk game plan against Trubisky and Kenny Pickett. Like, just kind of talk about the differences in the game plan.
Either way, Steelers offense is in complete turmoil right now. Their fans are all over firing Canada, and it's been so far that the media has asked Tomlin about it, and Tomlin is just, going business as usual, saying we're not making any changes. But
right.
Yeah, I think they have been just so bland, like something that we're used to.
At the best time, really.
We're getting them at a great time. They're very cold. They're only averaging 12.5 points per game offensively, and they only scored 6 versus Houston. So this is a quote that Canada actually said to the broadcasters, like in the pregame interviews versus the Texans. He said, "Our offense is not meant to play from behind because we have a run-first approach that prioritizes safety in the run game over explosive plays." That was his quote.
Jeez. Well, then we know how to beat them.
Yeah. So I don't care. Like you were asking, what are we going to do differently versus Trubisky or Pickett? I don't think it's going to matter. I think we're going to just focus on the run game because their pass game is non-existent right now, and we can man them up outside.
Najee Harris is pretty bad. Like, he'll break 1 or 2 a game. He definitely gets his yards up on an average game by breaking like a 15 or 20 yarder every once in a while. But for the most part, he just.
It's funny because I felt like in the preseason, they looked so good in the preseason. And I was like, I was worried. I was like, man, these Steelers are going to be good. And then as soon as the season started, everyone was calling that first game, oh, the Steelers are going to upset San Francisco. Nope, 30-7. I mean, they got pounced. And then they got lucky. They came back and, they beat Cleveland, who we just killed.
All their defense, by the way. If it was up to their offense, they would have lost that game.
Yeah. So they –
offense looked okay against Vegas, though.
Yeah, I think – I haven't really watched Vegas that game yet, but
it was better than it's been the rest of the year.
That was the Sunday night game, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they had a lead and then it got close, so it wasn't perfect, but it was definitely their best game.
Yeah. Yeah, but then they come back and they play Houston terribly on offense, 6 points versus the Houston Texans defense. Sorry, but Houston is not that good on defense. They're okay. They're an average defense.
I will say they do tend to play a little better at home than on the road, the Steelers.
Yes. So I was actually looking at their previous, just this year so far and last year. I think last year was the last time they lost back-to-back games in October. It was actually in October. It was the last time that they lost back-to-back games. So, take that for what it's worth. I mean, I just think the key for us is to start out strong and get a double-digit lead because, like Canada said, they are not meant to play from behind. They are a run-first offense, and they are not meant to, especially with a backup quarterback. I don't care if it's Trubisky or Pickett playing, but especially if, Trubisky's in, he doesn't have the timing that Pickett does with his receivers. They also are still out with Deontay Johnson. One of their best receivers is out.
Our defense is out. Our defense has already proven we can travel. We travel very well.
Yeah, we're road dogs.
We've actually played better on the road than at home.
We are road dogs, 100%.
So I think that we apply a lot of pressure, get whoever the quarterback is, get them down, get sacks, get pressures, force them to lose yardage when they run the ball. I saw a lot of plays that were busted up and they got tackled in the backfield against the Texans where they tried to run it because they were being stupid and the Texans knew what they were doing. Now, who's to say that Steelers don't pull something out of their butt and do something completely out of left field against us because we're the Ravens and they're our rivals. But I could see that happening, but I don't think so,
Yeah, I think they're limping into the bye right now, and they're just trying to get in and get through this game. I don't think that they're going to be pulling out any stops versus us. But I say this every week when we talk about the Steelers, Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in the NFL, and he will have them ready to go.
And here's the thing, man. I've never seen us blow out the Steelers. Actually, no, that's false. I've seen us blow out the Steelers one time, and that was the time that Flacco trash-talked Ben Roethlisberger and said that the Steelers weren't really that good. And then, we got killed by them.
Hey, well, guess what? I think it was this offseason that Ben Roethlisberger trash-talked Lamar Jackson, saying that nobody fears him as a pocket passer.
Yeah, I remember that. I'm sure he does, too.
So maybe we can, give that right back to them.
Here's something that I noticed about myself as a Ravens fan last week. We beat the Browns, and as soon as the game was over, I felt good, but in my head I was like, okay, let's go beat Pittsburgh. I wasn't too happy or concerned with the Browns game. I was like, okay, great, let's go beat Pittsburgh. And I feel like a lot of the players feel that way. Lamar has not reveled in their victories. He said, yeah, we're good, whatever, but he's been on to the next team, on to the next team. And I think that's a very, very good attitude for the fan base and for the players to have, because it just shows how locked in they are. And let me tell you something. Lamar Jackson is locked in to beat these Steelers. He's had some of his toughest games against the Steelers. And they are the one team that always somehow find a way to make him look human. So he is locked in and ready to go. And you better believe the rest of the team will be too. That defense wants to feast. They see a wounded animal and are ready to kill.
Yeah.
So let's just hope that we don't get too full of ourselves and piss away the game like we did against the Colts. Let's just go in there, play our brand of football, get out of there without too many injuries, and be ready for the Titans game.
Yeah, if we can do something similar to what we did versus Cincinnati, get up early in the first half and then just coast the second half, I think that's the game. That's got to be the way to do it versus that offense. It would be great, but, it's never going to be that easy. So we can hope for the best.
But you can hope for it.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. I do think we actually have the potential to be the far better team here today. or this weekend and just like show it. But we have to actually play to our best level. We can't do what other Ravens teams have done and play to the level of competition. Because sometimes that's great when we're playing a much better team, but then we'll play a team like this Steelers team and we'll look awful. So we are on paper, on the field, and like everything so far this season, the far better team between the two of us. Let's not go spoil this opportunity to go up 3-0 in the division. Let's go take care of business. Let's not be cocky like we were against the Colts. Let's play smart football and get out of there with a win.
Yep, I agree. So you want to go ahead and get started with some predictions?
Sure. What do we got? What's our score? It's pretty bad, isn't it? You got ahead of me.
Let's just do with our games first before we start on the rest of them.
Okay.
So offense, I'm going to say, I think we've said this a few times. This, I think, is going to be Zay Flowers' coming out party. All right. This has got to be the one. He's getting his first touchdown this week. And then
that would be a crazy game for him to get his first touchdown on the road in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think it's coming. And then defensively, I'm going to go ahead and say we get a defensive touchdown this week.
So a bold offensive and a bold defensive prediction?
Yep.
Okay, my bold offensive prediction is that Lamar Jackson has a second game where he throws for 2 and runs for 2 touchdowns. And it might even kick off a streak, not like a super long streak or anything crazy, but like maybe a streak of like 2 or 3 games. And then defensively, I think our defense plays so dominantly against the Steelers offense that at halftime, they're booing like Matt Canada and chanting for him to get fired. And by the end of the game, maybe he does get fired. I think this is the game we get Matt Canada fired.
Oh, that's
my bold prediction.
That is a great one. All right. And then
I hope I'm not eating my words on Sunday. They score like 45 points.
I feel like we want Matt Canada to stay there though.
Yeah. No, I do. So
I don't want them to fire him because I love how bad their offense is.
Yeah. We're going to be eating our words, dude. We're going to be eating our words so bad.
But score predictions. I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to get this dub, and we're going to do it pretty handily. I'm going to say the final is 27-6.
I wish Steelers games were that easy. I'm going to say a good 23-18. I think we'll be up big. They'll come back, and they'll have like a late drive, but we'll have a stand and kind of stop them from winning and then go seal it maybe. Maybe instead of 23-18, maybe it'll be 27-18, so like a 9-point win. I'll say 27-18.
27-18. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like maybe they go for it on 4th in our red zone, don't get it, and then we go down the field and score a field goal and then ice the game or something.
I just have a hard time believing their offense is going to be able to do much versus us.
Yeah, but you never know what could happen in the game.
Never know. That's why they play.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and pull up our Dun, 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 dun. All right, so
I had a pretty good week.
Last week, Mike went 4-3. I went 5-2, so I gained another game up on Mike.
Yeah,
and then on the season, I'm now 16-7. Got a nice, comfortable 4-game lead on Michael at 12-11. But guess what? Michael is over 500. He's over 500.
I am, and I'm coming for you. It might not happen like that, but it's gonna happen.
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady.
All right. Well, yeah. So let's go ahead and get this thing
kicked
off.
Are we picking the London game again? Is that?
Yeah, we will.
Sweet.
Yep. So first game, Thursday night football, Chicago at Washington. Washington is favored 6.5.
I think unless something disastrous happens, Washington wins probably like 28-13.
I agree. Washington is going to handle them pretty easily. Chicago, they lost to the Broncos last week.
They blew a 21-point lead to the Broncos in the fourth quarter or third, and 14 seconds left in the third quarter. I count that as the fourth quarter.
Man. And then next up is our London game. Jacksonville at Buffalo. It's not at Buffalo, but you get it.
Yeah.
Buffalo will be wearing the home uniforms. Anyways, Buffalo's favored 5.5. This will be Jacksonville's second straight game in London.
See, most teams, I would say Jacksonville would probably handle business, but the Bills have played in London before. I'm pretty sure Josh Allen has played in London before. And the Bills are a better team. I think, barring injury, Bills should probably take care of business. I'd say it's closer than normal, maybe like 17-13 Buffalo.
Yeah, I think it might be a high scoring game, but I do think it'll be close. I think
Dude,
Buffalo.
the Dolphins couldn't even score that many on the Bills.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like Jacksonville's got a little bit better of a run game, and
Okay.
I think they're going to be able to keep it close. But yeah, I'm going to still stick with Buffalo winning that one as well.
Okay.
And then our only other AFC North matchup of the week, because Cleveland is on a bye, is Cincinnati at Arizona. Cincinnati is favored by 3.
I think it would be an insult to Cincinnati to say I think Arizona would win this. I still think Cincinnati, unless Joe Burrow's like Achilles snaps or something, which he's been doing a good job of handling. I think everyone's worried he's going to hurt himself. I don't think he's going to hurt himself. I think he'll be fine. I think his play is going to be a little disturbed by it, as it has been, but I think physically he'll be okay. And I think the Bengals will probably win this, probably like 28-7, 28-14.
This one's a tough one for me because Cincinnati got absolutely smoked by Tennessee last week. They only put up 3 points. Arizona also got smoked, but they played San Fran. They came off a big win versus Dallas the week before.
Started hot against San Fran too.
Arizona's got Dobbs, who's looked pretty good this year.
I don't buy it.
I'm really struggling to pick this one because it's at Arizona and Cincinnati just looked so bad last week.
Yeah, but eventually Joe Burrow is just going to get pissed off and turn the league into his playground like he always does.
He's still hurt. He's still hurt. So, at first I had Cincinnati, but since we've been the same so far, I'm going to go ahead and pick Arizona to win this one.
I hope you're right. I don't mind going behind if you're right.
And Calvin, give you a good shout out there.
Yeah, does he watch this show?
I don't know, but in case he is. All right, so that brings us to Sunday Night Football. Dallas at San Francisco. San Francisco favored by 4. This is the 2 of the heavyweights of the NFC clashing at San Fran on Sunday night.
You go first.
I just think Dallas always chokes in the big games, so I'm gonna go San Fran. San Francisco, I think, is kind of on a revenge tour after last year, and I think they're gonna win this one. And I think they will cover the 4-point spread.
I think Dallas. I think their defense is really good, even with the Diggs injury. I think their defense is actually good enough to keep the Cowboys in the game. I just don't know if the Cowboys can score because their offense has been a little too run heavy, and they need to utilize their wide receivers and their pass game a little more. And I don't think the 49ers are a team they'll be able to do that against. So I also pick the 49ers. I'd say probably 30-13. 3-score game.
Okay. And then the last one, Monday Night Football, we've got Green Bay at Las Vegas. Green Bay is favored by 2.
You go first.
I'm going to pick Green Bay. I think that they had a rough game last week against Detroit, so they're looking to bounce back. I still am a believer in Love. I really liked how he's played so far this year. And I think Vegas, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure if Jimmy Garoppolo is even playing. So I think he's questionable. So I'm going to stick with Green Bay.
Okay. I like your pick. I think that's a pretty respectable pick. My only real problem with Green Bay, you talked about the quarterback injury in in Vegas, which is kind of rough. I mean, their offense definitely doesn't look the same as it did before, but they do still have a lot of weapons. The thing is, there are a lot of injuries on Green Bay. They will have an extra day to rest some of these players, but Bakhtiari can be out for the season. I think he already is. He's definitely on IR. And they keep on picking up injuries, and their run game has not looked good. And, don't forget, this is the Devontae Adams revenge game. He might have himself a night. I don't know. The Raiders are one of those teams that I just think are probably one of the historically worst teams in the league. Like, I think they might win 3 games this year, but I think this is one of those 3. I think their defense can stop the Packers offense, especially with the injuries, and it's not implausible to see the Packers defense give up points in this game, even if there is a backup quarterback in the game. I'll go Raiders. I'll go Raiders 15, Packers 14.
All right, we got 2 differences then, Cincinnati game and the Green Bay game. Cleveland's on a bye again. So, that wraps up the picks for this week. And then, so let's go ahead and finish this thing out with Mike's top 5 Ravens segment.
Yes. Okay. So this week at 5, I am going to now. You know what? I'm gonna be a little sneaky. I'm gonna say at 5, I'm going to put Justice Hill. Justice Hill has looked incredible every time he's touched the ball this year. Whether he's scoring touchdowns or just pulling off shifty long runs, he's been reliable. Yeah, he had turf toe, but I couldn't tell this week. I know he didn't have like a phenomenal game or anything, but he's been really productive, so that's why I have him at 5. At number 4, I have who was it? I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head. At 4, I have Brandon Stevens. That interception, even though he didn't really do all of the work for that, it was a deflection and it kind of landed in his lap. His awareness was great, getting back up and running and getting all the way down to the 10, setting up our first score. He has been one of the most unstoppable players on our team this year. Number 3, I'm going to put Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton has just been continuously making an impact. I know he was at 2 last week. I'm actually moving him down to 3 because someone has moved up to number 2, and that is Lamar Jackson, who definitely needs to stay in the 1 to 2 range if we're going to be good this year. He had a bounce back game. He had one of his best statistical games ever. He looked like the quarterback that I want to see, even in a game where he did struggle for stretches, because that Browns defense is legitimate. We didn't just make them look stupid like the media kind of says we did. They did hold their own for quite a bit of time. If we didn't have a good second quarter, that game would have been a lot closer. But Lamar Jackson held his own, and he was able to pull out the win. Throw 2, both touchdowns he threw were clutch, but really that first one was really clutch. And then to run it in for 2 more, I'd say Lamar Jackson. And then number 1 is still Roquan Smith. He is just hands down been the heart and soul of our defense and really our team this year. He's kept us he's kept himself at the top of the stat board. He had a nasty sack last week, and he almost had 2 interceptions, which I wish so much for him he would have caught one of those. He's going to get one soon, especially if we keep playing backups. We have 2 weak quarterback matchups back-to-back coming up with Ryan Tannehill and with Pickett or Trubisky, so maybe we'll see that pick coming up. But that is my top 5 power rankings for the Ravens this week going into week 5.
Great. And that wraps up our episode for this week. Let's go Ravens.
And remember, send us questions for the mailbag so that we can have some mailbag questions for next week.